God says there is a moment in every person's life when something hidden begins to press against the surface, quietly, gently, almost imperceptibly. And though you may not see it at first, you can sense it, like a change in the atmosphere around you, like the shift in the wind that tells you a new season is approaching. Right now, that is what you are feeling. You've been walking through days where things didn't make sense, where certain actions didn't match the words you were hearing, where someone's behavior created questions your heart tried to ignore. You were holding on to faith, onto trust, onto hope, and you wondered whether your heart was imagining things or whether something deeper was happening behind the scenes. There were moments when you talked yourself out of your own intuition, moments when you said, "Maybe I'm overthinking," moments when you convinced yourself to stay silent even though something inside you whispered, "Pay attention." You tried to give the benefit of the doubt because that is who you are. You don't judge quickly. You don't assume the worst. You don't lash out without reason. You love with sincerity. You trust with purity. You care deeply. So you let things slide. You overlooked inconsistencies. You kept giving chances. You kept hoping the truth would match the picture someone painted for you, but deep down, your spirit felt uneasy. Not fearful, just aware. Aware that something wasn't adding up. Aware that someone's smile didn't match their actions. Aware that someone's motives weren't as pure as they appeared. You sensed it, even though no one said anything. You sensed it without proof, without evidence, without explanation. You sensed it because your inner wisdom is far more powerful than you realize. And that whisper in your spirit was not an illusion. It was not insecurity. It was not fear. It was clarity trying to get your attention. There are things that people think they can hide behind charm, behind words, behind gestures, behind carefully crafted behavior. But sincerity has a vibration that cannot be faked. Truth has a frequency that cannot be imitated. And intentions, real intentions, always reveal themselves in time. You've been patient, perhaps more patient than you should have been. You've been understanding, even when you felt hurt. You've been strong, even when you felt unsure. And through all of it, you have remained honest. You have remained genuine. You have remained true to your heart, and now, something powerful is happening. The things done in shadows cannot stay hidden. The things spoken behind your back cannot remain buried. The masks people wear cannot stay in place forever. Whatever was unclear will soon become clear. Whatever was confusing will soon make sense. Whatever was concealed will soon come to light. You are stepping into a moment of revelation, a moment where everything that was foggy becomes sharp. Everything vague becomes defined, and everything that didn't make sense suddenly aligns. You don't have to chase answers. You don't have to investigate. You don't have to confront anyone prematurely. Life has a way of peeling back layers. People's actions eventually reveal their truth. Circumstances shift and expose what was hidden. Situations unfold and bring clarity without you forcing anything. And right now, clarity is on its way to you. Not to hurt you. Not to break your spirit. But to protect you. To free you. To empower you. Because you deserve relationships built on truth, not illusions. You deserve people whose words match their actions. You deserve connections grounded in honesty, not manipulation. You deserve peace, not confusion. You have been guided this far, and you will continue to be guided. You have been protected in ways you don't even know. You were kept from certain conversations you weren't meant to hear. You were shielded from certain actions you weren't meant to see yet. Timing has been working quietly in your favor. And though it felt frustrating at times, waiting, wondering, sensing something without knowing what it was, all of it has been leading you to a moment where truth becomes impossible to ignore. This revelation won't come to destroy you. It will come to release you. To release you from doubt. To release you from confusion. To release you from people who do not appreciate your heart. To release you from situations that drain your energy. To release you from holding on to something that was never meant to stay. You are not losing anything. You are being aligned with something better. You are not being punished. You are being protected. You are not being abandoned. You are being redirected. There were nights when you questioned yourself. Nights when you wondered if your heart was too soft or too forgiving. Nights when you felt alone in your thoughts because no one else saw what you felt. But you were never wrong to be kind. You were never wrong to love. You were never wrong to hope. What you didn't know was that your patience was planting seeds for better days. Your intuition was your compass. Your heart was your anchor. Someone thought they could hide their intentions. Someone thought you would never notice. Someone underestimated the depth of your insight. But the truth is, you have always seen more than you speak about. You observe quietly. You understand deeply. You connect dots without announcing it. And because of that, nothing can truly be hidden from you for long. What is coming is not a dramatic confrontation. It is a gentle yet undeniable unveiling. You will simply know. A conversation, a message, a slip of words, an unexpected moment, something will reveal what you were meant to see. And when it happens, it will not shock you. It will confirm what your spirit has sensed all along. It will validate your intuition. It will strengthen your trust in yourself. It will close a chapter that has been lingering too long, and once the truth comes, clarity will flood in like light entering a dark room. You will feel free. You will feel relieved. You will feel empowered. You will feel lighter than you have felt in months. Because there is nothing heavier than carrying unanswered questions. Nothing more draining than sensing something you cannot explain. Nothing more painful than giving your heart to someone who does not know how to value it. But you are moving into a season of awareness, a season where your eyes open wider, your understanding sharpens, and your path becomes clearer than ever before. You won't have to guess people's intentions anymore. You won't have to wonder if someone is being real with you. You won't have to fight between your heart and your intuition. Everything will align. The situation that has been troubling your heart is reaching its turning point. Whether it involves someone you love, someone you trust, or someone whose presence has been confusing your spirit, the truth is rising. And once it surfaces, not only will you see, but you will understand why the delays happened, why you felt uneasy, why certain interactions shifted, why things felt inconsistent. You will understand why you weren't given the full picture earlier, because you would have reacted emotionally. Or you would have tried to fix something that wasn't yours to fix. Now, you will see from a place of strength. Not pain. Not desperation. Strength, and after the truth is revealed, something even more meaningful will follow: peace. A deep, lasting, unshakable peace. The kind of peace that doesn't depend on people. The kind of peace that comes from knowing you didn't lose anything, you were saved from something. The kind of peace that comes from watching everything fall into place the way it was always meant to. You are standing at the doorway of clarity, healing, and emotional freedom. A revelation is coming, not to hurt you, but to lift you. Not to break you, but to build you. Not to expose someone else, but to restore your confidence in yourself. Your heart has been whispering the truth for a long time. Soon, your eyes will see what your spirit already knew. There is a part of you that has been waiting for closure without even realizing it. You've been moving through your days, handling your responsibilities, trying to stay strong, but underneath everything, you've been carrying unanswered emotions. You've been carrying thoughts that never found resolution. You've been holding on to pieces of conversations that didn't sit right with your heart. You've been replaying small moments in your mind, trying to understand why someone acted the way they did, what their silence meant, what their change in behavior was trying to tell you, and all this time, you tried to dismiss those feelings, because you didn't want to accuse, you didn't want to assume. You didn't want to judge unfairly. You wanted to give people the chance to show who they truly were. You wanted to believe in the good you saw in them. You wanted to trust that their intentions were as soft as their words. But there is only so much your spirit can ignore when it knows something is off. Deep within you, a quiet knowing has been growing. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just steady, persistent, undeniable. The kind of knowing that doesn't shout, it simply waits for you to acknowledge it. And in this next phase of your journey, that inner knowing will begin to unfold in ways you cannot miss. Someone in your life underestimated your strength. They thought your softness meant you were blind. They thought your forgiveness meant you were unaware. They thought your patience meant you were easily deceived. But they forgot something important: you don't love blindly. You love courageously. You don't trust foolishly. You trust deeply. And when you give your heart, you give it with intention, not ignorance. People often misunderstand deep hearts. They think that because you don't react immediately, because you don't confront aggressively, because you don't expose wrongs at the first sign of trouble, that you're unaware. But the truth is, you see everything, you just choose your moment. You feel everything, you just choose what deserves your energy. You understand everything, you just refuse to let the world harden you. This next part of your path is where your quiet strength becomes visible. The very things that someone thought they could hide will begin to surface without you lifting a finger. Words that were spoken behind your back will find their way to your ears. Actions someone tried to conceal will come into the open. Inconsistencies will reveal their true meaning. And you won't have to expose anything, circumstances will do it for you. You may notice conversations shifting. Someone who acted confidently before may start to feel uneasy around you. Someone who hid things from you may avoid eye contact or become overly cautious. Someone who took your trust for granted may suddenly realize that their actions are catching up with them. Life has a way of revealing truth through people's behavior long before it is spoken out loud. You'll begin to see things clearly, not because you went searching, but because timing is finally aligning in your favor. The truth that was hidden didn't stay hidden because you were weak. It stayed hidden because there was a right moment for you to see it, a moment when you would be emotionally ready, spiritually stronger, mentally grounded enough to handle it without letting it break your peace. And now, that moment is approaching. When clarity arrives, it won't just show you what someone did, it will show you who they are. It will show you what they value, how they love, how they treat others, how they handle honesty, how they respond when faced with their own imperfections. And once you see that clearly, you'll make decisions that come from a place of wisdom, not pain. Something inside you is already preparing for this transition. You may have felt more detached recently, even if you didn't understand why. You may have found yourself stepping back emotionally, observing from a distance, trusting less blindly, feeling less affected by someone's presence or absence. This isn't numbness, this is growth. This is your spirit protecting itself, creating space for truth to enter, and when the truth arrives, it will bring both clarity and calm. Yes, there may be moments that sting. Because honesty sometimes hurts before it heals. But the healing will be swift, because you will no longer be carrying the weight of confusion. And after everything becomes clear, something beautiful begins: renewal. Your heart will feel lighter. Your mind will feel free. Your energy will feel restored. You will see how much of your emotional space was being taken by uncertainty, by someone's half-truths, by mixed signals, by inconsistent behaviors. You will realize how much of yourself you were pouring into something that wasn't giving back equally. And with that realization comes a powerful shift. You will stop settling, you will stop accepting crumbs. You will stop tolerating unclear connections. You will stop holding on to people who do not value your presence. You will stop excusing behavior that confuses your spirit. Instead, you will begin attracting transparency, honesty, maturity, and genuine affection, and the most unexpected part? Once you release whatever is not aligned with your peace, life will bring into your journey someone who values your heart without games, someone who speaks truthfully because they respect you, someone whose intentions are pure without being forced, someone who doesn't hide behind charm but stands strong in sincerity. But before that can happen, you must see what needs to be seen now. Not to hurt you, to free you. Not to expose someone else, to awaken you. Not to close your heart, to protect it and prepare it for something better. There is a moment coming when you will look back and say, I understand now why everything happened the way it did. The unanswered questions will fade. The confusion will disappear. The silence will make sense. The mixed signals will no longer hold power over you. And the truth, even if painful, will set you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually free. There comes a time when the weight of what you've been carrying begins to loosen, not because the situation has changed yet, but because you have started to change. You've begun to look at life with clearer eyes. You've begun to notice patterns that once slipped past you. You've begun to understand people beyond their surface-level words. You've begun to trust your inner signals, the subtle shifts within your spirit that tell you when something feels off, when something feels forced, when something feels untrue, and this internal shift didn't happen suddenly, it rose slowly, like dawn breaking after a long night. You may not have realized it, but you've been growing in silence. You've been strengthening without announcing it. You've been healing without making a sound. You've been stepping into a deeper version of yourself, a wiser version, a more intuitive version. And this version of you can no longer be misled by a smile that doesn't reach the eyes. This version of you can no longer be fooled by pretty words without consistent actions. This version of you can no longer ignore the misalignment that someone hoped you would never notice. The revelation that's coming is not meant to break your heart, it is meant to align your life. For a long time, you held on to something because you saw the potential in it. You saw who someone could be. You believed in the warmth they occasionally showed. You held on to the moments when they were kind, when they were present, when they seemed genuine. But potential is a dangerous place to build your emotional home. And little by little, you began to see that you were investing in possibilities while someone else was offering you inconsistencies. That's why you felt the emotional distance growing, even if they said nothing. That's why you've sensed truths slipping through the cracks of their silence. That's why their energy doesn't feel the same anymore. That's why something within you has been preparing to detach, even before your mind fully understood why. You are being guided towards something that will bring peace into your life. Something that resonates with the pureness of your heart. But before that peace can come, the truth has to clear the space. And that truth is about to come forward in ways no one can stop. There may be a conversation you weren't expecting. A message that slips out. A confession, a moment of weakness, a truth revealed accidentally. Or maybe you'll simply observe something that confirms every feeling you've held inside. The moment it happens, something inside you will rise: strength, clarity, certainty. You won't tremble. You won't panic. You won't break. Instead, you'll feel relieved that the inner war between your intuition and your hope is finally ending. You have been fighting quietly with yourself for a long time. One side of you wanted to believe what you were told. The other side sensed something beyond the words. And that internal conflict exhausted your spirit more than you realize. But freedom is coming. Peace is nearing. Clarity is approaching with steady steps, and when this truth reveals itself, you will begin to see your worth in a new way. You will see that your heart was never the problem. Your sensitivity was never a weakness. Your loyalty was never wasted. Your love was never foolish. Your trust was not naive, it was brave. You allowed yourself to believe in the good of someone who didn't know how to value it. Once this truth comes out, the veil that has been covering your situation will lift. You will see exactly why things felt confusing, why someone acted distant, why their behavior felt inconsistent, why their actions didn't match their words. And instead of feeling hurt, you will feel clarity, the kind of clarity that calms you from the inside out. You won't chase explanations, because your spirit will already understand. You won't beg for honesty, because honesty will reveal itself without your asking. You won't try to fix what's broken, because you'll finally realize it was never your job to repair someone who doesn't want to grow. This isn't the end of anything meaningful. It is the end of a cycle that no longer supports your peace. It is the end of confusion. The end of emotional imbalance. The end of uncertainty. And as this chapter closes, something new begins to open, something steady, something sincere, something that speaks to your heart in a language you don't have to decode. You are moving into days where you will no longer question people's intentions. Days where you won't have to wonder whether someone secretly hides something from you. Days where your intuition won't have to fight your feelings. Days where clarity will be your companion, not confusion. Days where your heart will finally rest. There is a quiet moment that comes right before a major shift in your life, a moment where everything feels strangely calm even though so much is changing behind the scenes. You may feel that moment approaching now. It's as if your heart already knows that something is ending, something is transforming, something is being revealed, something is being released. You may not have the full picture yet, but your spirit is already preparing itself for truth, for clarity, for closure, for a new beginning. There is a kind of strength that comes only after you've spent too long carrying what should have never been yours to carry. And that strength is rising in you now. You don't need loud confirmation, dramatic proof, or sudden chaos to know what is real anymore. You've lived through enough to recognize the difference between someone who values your heart and someone who simply enjoys the comfort of your presence. You've finally understood that you cannot pour endlessly into people who give selectively. You cannot keep trusting words that are not backed by consistent action. You cannot keep giving your kindness to those who think they can hide their intentions. The final revelation coming your way is not just about seeing someone's truth, it is about seeing yourself clearly. It is about understanding that you deserve honesty without having to beg for it. You deserve transparency without having to decode mixed signals. You deserve stability without questioning your worth. You deserve relationships where you don't have to shrink your intuition just to keep the peace. For too long, you tried to make sense of something that could never be understood with logic alone. People often hide their motives not because you are unworthy of the truth, but because they are afraid of what honesty would expose about them. Some people speak beautifully but act carelessly. Some show affection but hide intentions. Some hold on to you not because they value you, but because they fear losing access to the comfort you bring. And none of that reflects your worth. It reflects their limitations. The truth that is coming is going to liberate you from the emotional maze you've been walking through. It will be the moment where everything clicks, where the missing pieces align, where you finally understand the purpose of all the confusion. You'll realize that what you thought was a loss was actually protection. What you thought was rejection was redirection. What you thought was silence was a transition. What you thought was the end was actually the preparation for a beginning that matches your soul's growth. As the truth unfolds, you will notice something within yourself shift in the most beautiful way. The heaviness you've been carrying will begin to dissolve. The overthinking will quiet. The emotional pressure will soften. You'll begin breathing more deeply. You'll begin sleeping more peacefully. You'll begin feeling more like yourself again, not the version of you that was trying to understand someone else's chaos, but the version of you that is grounded, intuitive, strong, aware, and deeply connected to your inner wisdom. What awaits you after this revelation is not emptiness, it is clarity. It is peace. It is direction. It is alignment. It is space for what is truly meant for you. It is the release of every doubt that made your spirit tired. It is the closure to a chapter that was stretching too long. It is the moment where life gently guides you forward and whispers, "Now you can move freely." And when you step into this new clarity, you will look back and realize you were never in the dark, you were being prepared. You were being strengthened. You were being refined. Every unanswered question, every moment of confusion, every slight shift in someone's behavior, every piece of your intuition that nudged you, all of it was guiding you out of what wasn't aligned with your future. You will forgive yourself for staying too long. You will forgive yourself for believing the best in someone who didn't know how to honor it. You will forgive yourself for giving chances that weren't appreciated. Because you will realize that nothing you gave was a mistake, it was proof of your heart, your capacity for love, your depth, your courage. And those qualities will draw better people into your life, people who don't fear honesty, people who don't hide truths, people who don't speak in riddles, people whose intentions are clear because they value connection as deeply as you do. Your story is not ending in confusion. It is ending in clarity. It is ending in strength. It is ending in a moment of truth that will unlock the next chapter of your journey. And that next chapter is brighter than you imagine, filled with connections that match your sincerity, filled with peace that replaces emotional tension, filled with love that doesn't make you question your worth. When the truth finally arrives, and it will, you will not break. You will rise. You will breathe. You will let go.